Ruth, can you give a thumbs up if you can hear us? Thank you.
I have to put my video on to give you the thumbs up.
Oh.
Thanks, Jordan. Looking sharp. Is that the first time you put a dress shirt on in 4 months, or?
He's even at work.
Well, yeah, I had some meetings, so I had to stay at work, unfortunately. So I'm just at work.
Watson Lake Moose in the background.
Hey, I have that
Hey.
in Lucas's room. Hey, you're disrupting my start of the meeting.
It's got medals and stuff.
It's the second time I've worn a dress shirt, Your Worship.
Okay. Very fancy. I like it.
There, no, it's fun.
Yep, see ya. Okay. Welcome everybody to the regular council meeting of May 18th, 2021. Yeah, beautiful day. So there's no amendments to the agenda. So if I could have a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll second that.
Any questions? All in favor? Carried.
I make a motion to adopt the draft minutes from the committee of whole, May 4th to 2021.
Thank you, Councillor Labonte.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councillor Slager. Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Second reading of bylaw 2104 being a bylaw to consolidate the fees and charges.
Make a motion for the second reading of bylaw 2104 being a bylaw to consolidate the fees and charges.
Thank you, Councillor Labonte.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councillor Hanchar. Any questions or comments?
No.
So in our previous discussion, we did discuss the idea of a deposit. Didn't come up with a number or anything like that. So if you could please advise administration before the final reading of any comments or questions or yeah, okay. So if there's anything you want to add to that fees and charges bylaw, make sure that it comes to administration before the next council meeting.
Sorry, I do have a comment.
Okay.
Just about the memo we received where administration had done some research into how other communities are packaging up their having everything included. And maybe then there's a way that we can, maybe it doesn't need to be included. Maybe it's a package we buy, because charging per tablecloth and per cup for people who are already paying $350 is a lot. So perhaps there's another way we can look at it, and maybe you could get a small package for 30 people and that costs you however many dollars, a larger package for, I don't know how it works. It just seems really a lot to be charging per glass, per tablecloth.
Okay.
An already large expense.
So for this reading of the bylaw, there was a couple of other issues, right, that we've amended, and then there was this rec center rental. Maybe we could ask for a recommendation for the third and final reading regarding all-inclusive rental for the rec center.
I mean, hopefully that would also reduce work for the staff at the rec center in the future too, not having to go out and individually count them up glasses and just grab a 30-person packaging. Like, I don't know.
Something to simplify the process and more user-friendly.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so first second, all in favor? Carry. Next on the list, we have a delegation. His name is Jordan Stackhouse. He's our YG Community Advisor. Welcome back, Jordan. Nice to see you.
Thank you very much, Councillor DeVries, Councillor Hanchar, Councillor Labonte, Councillor Slager, Terry. So good to see everyone. I missed you dearly, but not really. It was only 4 months and I was pretty busy watching Sesame Street and drinking coffee. I'm really pleased to be back. The first conversation I had with my director was when I could put a call into Watson Lake, and just knowing that I was back with you guys was a really good entree back to work. I do have a number of things like that I would like to discuss with you guys, but I'm uncertain as to whether those would be better for in-camera discussions. Just in terms of like where we're at with the official community plan, some of the land development stuff, etc. And other than that, like I'm just kind of getting up to speed. I've had a couple phone calls with Cam, Mayor Irvin and I, and Cam have all spoken, and I've been just ruffling some feathers at YG on your guys' behalf. I'm sure people, all my YG colleagues miss me too. and we're getting, yeah, we're getting some movement on stuff, but I don't really have like a fulsome update for you guys today in terms of like stuff we've been working on, because obviously I'm just getting back. But your worship or Cam, will just defer to you as to what's appropriate in terms of having a conversation about the OCP and land development issues. And other than that, it's just really good to see everyone. I'm really stoked to be back and really happy to see all your faces not hiding behind any masks. So there you go. And if anybody has any questions, I'm obviously here to answer questions if I can.
Your worship, based on some of the topics about the OCP and land development, there's legal issues there. So I recommend that we do go in camera, but maybe we stand down Jordan until the end of the meeting and then go in camera, so we're not holding the rest of the audience.
Yeah. If that works for you, Jordan?
Yep, 100%.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thanks, Jordan. Nice to see you in a work shirt. Good, great. So we'll move right along then. So Cam, CAO report, please.
Thanks. I should have let him go because now I'm up. It's been a rather hectic few weeks around here. We have been dealing with the rec center roof issue with YG and consultants. Unfortunately, there's no money through YG that YG can access for the roof repairs right now, but there is money that the municipality can access, and it's capped at 3 million. Unfortunately, the repairs to the front part of the building, which are the priority, so far the estimates have come in about 4.1 million. So in between Jordan and myself, we've been doing research. Jordan got a response today that we can have the possibility of stacking. So using our gas tax money to bring us up to that 4.1, which is something we're still going to follow up on, because if we can use our own money to get that roof fixed, instead of waiting for 3 years and having it cost more and more damage, I think that's the way to go. But those are just responses that Jordan actually received today. So we're still pushing through. We went back to the consultants to clarify the price, because to redo their estimates currently to redo the roof are around the $10 million mark. And in 2019, the estimate come in for the full building upgrade at 8.9, I think. So quite a disparity, but the way prices have gone and COVID and material right now, we went back and chased them around, and they came back and said that they believe the numbers are correct based on the other work and the contracts that have gone out in the territory recently. So it's really terrifying to think that if the roof is 10 million, imagine what that whole building's worth right now. So we're still going to chase it, but that's an update on the rec center. Visitor information center is open. Lori's Bistro is open and seems to be doing booming business over there. Lots of people in. Councillor DeVries and I went to a presentation yesterday from the First Nations consultants about their possibility of building a cultural center administration office with possibility of the visitor information center being their anchor tenant on the Watson Lake Hotel property. Wasn't much information shared. It almost seemed that they were surprised that we didn't know what they had planned. So we answered a bunch of questions. There was talk about them wanting to have their own community hall with a commercial kitchen and running rec programs. So, we expressed interest, or our opinion that our building is going to be 100 feet away and sitting empty. So why are we duplicating services? Based on your council's meetings with LFN Council, They expressed at that time that they didn't want to duplicate, they wanted to work together. So I'm not sure where the disconnect is, but part of this project, their project is being run by First Casca. But chief and council and everybody are feeding into it. In front of you, you have the first page of a survey that they were doing with LFN members. We weren't provided with page 2. We weren't provided with page 2, but and you can see in the first line in there, they're talking about what the LFN members would like to see developed on our property.
Yeah, I just was like noticing on the site.
Yeah, so it's strange, but anyways, when we left the meeting, I really expressed on them that there needs to be a sit down between chief and council and mayor and council to discuss what their vision is, because consultants and community members might have a totally different thing than what mayor and council and chief and council have, because they've been working behind the scenes trying to leverage the municipality to give up our lot. But they haven't formally come forward, and this is all behind the scenes. There's been nothing formal, but currently we've got about $500,000 invested into that property. So I really worry from the administration side about us losing our leverage in that property if it ever was given up. If council decided to, sell it or turn it over to LFN, because the signpost forest is such an integral part of the town of Watson Lake. And if we lose control over signpost forest expansion or how to access tourism into that area, I think it would be really detrimental to the municipality. So whatever goes forward needs to be worked on jointly. And 2 years ago, there was supposed to be an MOU in between them and us and YG on the development of the 3 lots. And that disappeared into the weeds when they had with the previous chief and council. So I really cautiously optimistic that chief and council and mayor and council can actually discuss it. I did meet the consultants and took them over to the rec center and toured them around, and they were really impressed with the amount of space and setup we have there. That they were on similar, well, personally, they were under the impression that why would they duplicate, right? Because LFN on average over the last 5 years has done $4,000 worth of hall rental from us a year. And that includes Wiley Cabin, the Mez, the curling lounge, the big hall. So when you look at it, it's not a big dollar amount, because right now to build commercial property right now, the last stuff out of Whitehorse went out in between $1,200 and $1,500 a square meter. So for $4,000, you're not building the very big square footage area. So those are things, so I brought that to their attention, and brought that forward to their attention. So they thanked me for that, and they made their notes and away they went. So that came forward, and so that was that part of it. We're just dealing with trying to get some tenders and stuff out and move that stuff forward. Your worship, there's a question from Janice. Why would OTP and land development be in camera? It's understanding that in cameras for employee issues and contract. It's also for legal issues as well. And there's a legal discussion that's been brought forward on both of those issues, Janice. And there's so much on the go, I can't really keep track right now, your worship. So those are the sort of the highlights for the moment.
Okay.
I'm sure Councillor Open Forum will bring something else.
Okay, thanks, Cam. Next up, you're kind of on the table for the Lakeview Avenue transfer ownership of land.
Okay, so in your packages, your worship, you have, and I'm just opening it here. You have a letter of offer from the Yukon Housing Corporation to purchase the former Lakeview Apartments at 810 Lakeview Avenue. And I can read it so for everybody in the audience. May 17th, 2021, offer to purchase 810 Lakeview Avenue, Watson Lake. Yukon Housing Corporation has been working with the town of Watson Lake in determining if the now shut down Lakeview Apartments would be suitable for Yukon Housing Corporation to redevelop. A redevelopment of this site by Yukon Housing Corp would be to support the ongoing housing needs in the community. In recent past and with the approval of town of Watson Lake, Yukon Housing Corp has completed a phase 2 environmental assessment in addition to the phase 1 environmental assessment completed by the town of Watson Lake. They have done a geotechnical assessment and a hazardous building materials assessment of the existing structure. After completing the above mentioned assessments, Yukon Housing Corp subsequently received approval from the Yukon Housing Corp Board of Directors on April 29th, 2021 to move forward with purchasing the property. The Yukon Housing Corporation hereby offers to purchase 810 Lakeview Avenue, Watson Lake, aka the Lakeview apartment property for the total price of $1. This offer takes into consideration the associated costs that will be incurred by Yukon Housing Corporation to remove the existing structure from the property and mitigate the environmental contamination that has been recognized on the property. Yukon Housing Corporation's intent would be to have lawyers from the town of Watson Lake and Yukon Housing Corporation work out final arrangements through an agreement of sale to be completed as soon as possible. Should this offer be acceptable to the town of Watson Lake, once the purchase has been completed, Yukon Housing Corporation will move forward with the removal of the existing structure in the coming months with plans on redeveloping the property next year. And that's signed by Mary Cameron, President of Yukon Housing Corporation. They've told me that they are looking to develop a 16-unit housing complex on that property next year. So there's two other issues with this then, is one, the demolition, which would clean up contaminated site in the community, get it off the town's book as a liability issue. The issue would be that the town would have to write off the outstanding bad debt from the property. But the other side of the coin is, your worship, is that by transferring title to Yukon Housing Corporation, we will be generating taxes, having the site cleaned up, and then they will be building a brand new 16-unit housing complex on the property, which will generate a significant amount of taxes for the municipality and will be not an eyesore for the community.
Yep. We'll also make a little bit on the tipping fees for cleanup.
Yes, that's correct.
So they wouldn't get any tax incentives or anything from the town?
No.
According to our policy, any NGO, government agency is eligible.
So if we were to do this, would them building a 16-plex be part of our stipulation? Like, if they were to say today that they're gonna build a 16-plex and then we transfer title and then they decide to build a duplex, what stops them from doing that?
Well, there's nothing right now other than the fact that there is no other multi-residential lot where they could build.
Yeah.
And their mandate is under the new funding that's out there, the REACH, I believe it's the REACH funding or the rapid housing
money,
is for them to fill that void in Watson Lake.
and that's
So,
what this money is, rapid housing.
yes, it's rapid housing money that they were trying to access.
Your worship, if I could just chime in, sorry. I did want to mention too, like as council, like you can do anything with that zoning. If you wanted to zone it for a multifamily, high density apartment complex, you could absolutely zone it for that and that alone.
Okay. So if there was concern, that was, we need to do that, but
I'm currently in
I'm not
our,
saying it's gonna happen, it's just that, like, that's how it feels with what happened with campgrounds, right? Like, they said they're gonna do something, they're not doing it, all they've gotten is a bunch of this stuff for free, so.
private.
Not that, government's not saying.
I hope that we can maybe insist that they do some community consultation to see what type of complex the community would actually like to see in that location.
that's what they did tell me when we were in our discussions, with that their plan is, the reason that they're not going ahead with plans for the construction is that they have been mandated that there will be an intense community consultation with the municipality, LFN, and all of the user
Okay.
groups. So some of it might be assisted living accommodation, they're not sure. But that's their plan, is 16 unit. It might be in 2 wings based on the need for the types of housing.
So my other question is, if they're not looking at developing that for, a year or whatever it ends up being, who, I understand they assume the liability of that site as well then, so who's responsible for making sure that it stays boarded up and that nobody's squatting in there and that it's not?
Their plan is to tear it down within the next couple months.
Oh, okay,
And it'll
wow.
be a blank property until they start.
Until they, okay, gotcha, thank you.
Because they don't want the liability as well.
Right,
Like all the boundaries are clearly delineated, or they
Yes.
don't have to do more surveys, and wasn't there something about an access?
Well, there is another easement that comes in across the downtown RV park. It's an easement and it's not wide enough for a road, like it wasn't
It's a
very well.
driveway.
Yeah, it was a driveway and it wasn't thought out to meet any kinds of standards. Their plan is to have all the access off of Lakeview. And I guess the other bonus is because it is a new build coming off Lakeview, the water and sewer will come off of Lakeview, because currently right now for the existing building, the water line runs through the campground. And we've had issues with it, and if there's a water line leak, then we're digging on somebody else's property. So this gets it back, and then also it improves our water flow on Lakeview Avenue, where we've had issues with flow due to freeze up, because there's only one residence that's actually consuming water off of that 10-inch pipe.
Right, so this will help.
Yes, definitely. So that's my submission.
Thank you. That is great news. I think that it's great for Watson Lake. We've been looking for more housing. I know Yukon Housing is usually strapped for a place for someone to live, so this, I think, is going to add a lot to our community.
And there'll be rental units, not like a condo.
I don't think it's rental. It's probably Yukon Housing Corp. So it'll be,
should sound decided actually,
yeah.
based on that letter.
Yeah, so it'll be, I don't think it's gonna be like it won't be condos or anything. It's gonna be Yukon Housing renting out
Yeah.
apartments is from
Yeah.
what.
Social housing of some sort.
Social housing is
Some
from.
sort, yeah. So we do need a
Make
motion
a,
to
make a
accept
motion to
$1.
accept the Yukon Housing Corporation proposal.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councillor Slager. Thank you, Councillor Hanchar. Any more questions?
I just wonder if administration thinks it's prudent to put a stipulation about the minimum of apartments, or whether you just want to trust them.
Yeah. I don't think it's prudent with Yukon Housing Corporation. They've had their marching orders for quite a while to improve that gap in our community. And I have a very good working relationship with Darren Stoll, who's their director of capital, and everything he said has been bang on, and that's their plan, and their plan is to move ahead because they want to take the best advantage of that rapid housing, and they've been directed by upper management that that's what they need to do.
So all in favor? Carried. Goodbye, Lakeview Apartments. Okay, the next is number 7, the auction for 233 Canyon Boulevard. I have a little bit here. To take notice that the land described below will be offered for sale by public auction in Watson Lake on 17th day of May 2021 at 3 p.m. in council chambers of Town of Watson Lake. We had 2 submissions, right? The description of land, the land is located in the municipality of Watson Lake. The following is the geographic description and municipal address, roll number 0000560050060. Lot 5, Block 56, Plan 58843-233 Canyon Boulevard, Watson Lake. There is a reserved minimum bid for this property. The town of Watson Lake will consider both the amount of the bid together with the development being proposed by the proponent. Accordingly, the highest bid does not necessarily have to be accepted. Sealed bids along with the development proposals shall be received by administration no later than 3 o'clock. And we had 2 submissions, which I can read to you. The first submission is from Bergeron General Contracting. The bid and development proposal for 233 Canyon Boulevard was, because they just have a little bit of stuff here. They're construction company based in Watson Lake. They've been here for more than 20 years. They are proposing to build a 40 by 60 shop for business purposes to be completed in the summer of 2022. Fence the property in 2022 and construction of a caretaker's residence to be completed in 2024. They submitted a bid of $6,100. The second bidder is Richard Zebrook. His bid is $7,777. His intention is to build a 40 by 40 shop and storage facility. He will hope to begin construction on the building on the 3rd year to have them clad to weather. So those are the 2 bids. Both are Watson Lake residents. I'll leave it open to discussion.
My opinion is that, given that the 2, okay, first, I don't know what, if we're able to say what people are going to do with their lot, if it fits the zoning.
Mhm.
So I think that it doesn't really matter what their intent is with their property as long as it fits with the zoning. I think that both projects are really similar. And in saying that, I think that we should take the higher bid.
So your vote would be for Richard Zebrook.
That's right.
Okay, thank you, Lauren.
I'm in agreement.
Thank you, Councillor Slager.
Well, in the past, some of the issues have been that people then go and build a residence there, yeah, too. No.
Yeah.
Is that an option or isn't it?
Your worship, I can answer that.
Yeah.
We're actually in control because of the fact that for any development done on site, it has to comply with our zoning and development permits. So we would not issue a development permit for them to build a house unless they have an active business on the property.
So does it even cover the tax arrears?
Yes, the reserve bid on it was roughly $4,700.
What's the deal?
Hell of a deal. Aaron, Councillor Labonte?
I agree with Councillor Hanchar.
All right.
So we'll need a motion.
Yes, we need a motion to approve the successful bidder.
I'll make a motion to approve the bid made by Richard Zebrook in the amount of $7,777.
Thank you, Councillor Labonte.
Second that.
Thank you, Councillor Hanchar. Any questions? All in favor? Carried. Congratulations, Richard. Steal of a deal.
No kidding. How did I drive by there and man, has it ever treated?
Can't wait to see your development. RCMP policing report. Everybody had a chance to look it over.
I really like the anecdotes at the end.
Yeah.
Rather than just the numbers.
Me too.
Anything else?
Hopefully we'll see them volunteer for some boards that are desperately needing members as well as just attending events.
I agree.
Your worship, actually, there's a couple of the wives actually are sitting on some boards already in town, so.
Glad to hear.
I think help hand and
Hearts and Hands is one, and the other one is the not the Ard Basin, but the one that Danielle,
Oh, it's a family center.
Family
Later.
they're on the family side. Two of them.
Awesome.
That's great. Any more comments?
Nope.
Okay, moving right along. Councillor open forum. Question, comments? No?
I have one. On Ravenhill Drive, there is a tree that's leaning towards the road. I've been waiting for it to fall for a long time. Are we gonna wait for it to fall, or can we cut it this summer while it's actually easy to get at? It's right beside Calvin and Cindy Porter's place, just before their place on the left-hand side as you're driving towards. Like every day, every time I drive by it, I look, I'm like, oh, it's just gonna be the day. And I don't know, it's a little thing, and it's on it's on land set aside property, I'm pretty sure. But the tree it's gonna fall on the road one day. Might as well make it on our terms.
Well, yes, I'll just have to confirm whose property it's on.
Yeah,
And the other good thing is that we've just had our crew all certified on chainsaw, so they can actually do it. But it comes down to if it's private property or crown.
I'm gonna go around and ribbon
Yeah.
ones in town. There's millions.
Sorry, I didn't have, were you done?
I think so.
Sorry. I just have one quick question about the garbage cleanup. I just wondered how that was going and if you had good uptake from any of the groups, and if not, are you offering it to, individuals?
The garbage cleanup.
Like where they pay people to clean up the sections?
I know that there's been some that have been already out, because I've witnessed them cleaning.
Mhm.
And I honestly don't know because I don't have my update from, Alyssa, and I have a standing Wednesday meeting where she updates me on everything that's going on from the week.
Okay,
So those just went out last week, so I won't know till tomorrow, but I can send you a message on that. I can tell you that household hazardous waste day took place on Saturday. It was very steady out there. And also in conjunction with that, the landfill was very steady.
okay,
People were hauling their free loads in and also taking advantage of when they're coming, dropping off recycling. So we've had very good intake. And while I'm thinking of that, I must send kudos out to Monica because a citizen had witnessed somebody dump 2 Chesterfields out along the Robert Campbell Highway out by 2 Mile in the ditch. And a citizen picked them up, and we don't have a policy, right? Because I'm not around for staff to ask on the weekend. But a citizen phoned in and said, if I pick them in, well, can I just bring them if I pick them up? And Monica says, well, we don't have policy, but if you bring them in, I will put them as my load coming from cleaning my yard up. But that isn't gonna happen because
Yeah.
we're gonna absorb it. But I just thought I'd let you guys know that our staff was willing to go to that stage to actually help with cleanup, so.
Very.
that's nice.
I've seen lots of people cleaning up the yards and it looked like it was a busy weekend, so that's great.
And we have actually served cleanup orders. I've had Terry send out cleanup registered letters to some property owners, and they've actually been complying, so.
That's awesome.
That's great to hear
With
too.
Charlie being off, it's another thing on the corner of my desk, but we're doing it by registered letter. So then there's no arguing that they've got notice and there's a date drawn in the sand, so.
That's good.
How are you guys deciding who to send those letters to? Are you just sending them to everybody who's not in compliance, or just like the worst of the lot, or
Whatever.
can I just send you a list of ones that I have saved in my phone?
Well, it's stuff that I'm trying to piecemeal as I go, and I'm picking the bad ones that I see while I'm out there. I can't take on too many because I can't enforce it otherwise, right? So
Totally.
Yeah.
Just really.
But if you do have some, that definitely send them to my attention and I'll pick them off as I have time.
That can be.
I have.
Aaron's personal hit list too, though, like,
Oh.
There's some.
this is what it sounds like.
Oh, yeah, I also text Yukon Housing and tell them all the ones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's quite a few on Yukon Housing that I've noticed as well, so I'm gonna have a conversation with their manager to point them out. So,
Yeah, and they operate on a complaints-based system, so if you guys would like their personal cell phone number to text, just let me know.
So when's the pool supposed to open?
Good question.
I'll have that firm date, tomorrow as well. Here I'm saying because I'm thinking. But I believe will be sometime the beginning of June. We were just waiting on confirmation. We've been back and forth with YG because they had done a maintenance or a stop work on us and all the pools in the territory. But that was sorted out last week. The grate for the suction was ordered and was in transit as of last Wednesday. And our staff has been in Whitehorse taking their updated training to go to work. We have 3 adult staff ready to go. We are still waiting on confirmation that if Kira could get recertified to do lessons, which we're really hoping can happen. So, but Kira, they've been up, all our staff's been up there. And once they finished their last course, they were supposed to go up for 4 weeks. Instead of doing, it's Whitehorse organized it, so we're at their mercy, but they needed so many days of training, but Whitehorse decided to do it over 3 or 4 weekends. So it's really hard on us because we're sending 3 people up on a Friday.
That's the city.
Yeah. And then they train for the weekend, then come home Sunday night or Monday morning. And we're doing that for 3 or 4 weeks in a row, where it would have been travel wise, it would have been a lot cheaper to have them go up on a Monday and come home on the weekend or stay the week than paying gas mileage back and forth. But that's the only thing we could get. So we're taking it because we want to be able to have that pool open for everybody. So.
Is it worth sending a letter to them?
Yeah, on the, like the parking lot there, out, like the signs are no longer there. They got knocked down by the grader and I seen the guys pick them up and they haven't put back.
Okay.
And, you know, all the kids or a lot of kids walk through there to go to the swimming pool. And there's a couple of kids there with quads. Don't know who they are. I'd like to catch them on a game cam or something. Because I doubt they're even 16.
Mhm.
No helmets. They go barreling through there probably 40 miles an hour. And others with motorcycles, you name it. So I think we have to make sure that when these kids are walking through there, that the 5 kilometer speed sign is back up. And this also includes the parks people. Once in a while, they get a little rushed. So
Okay,
they might need a little talking to too, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
noted.
Just don't tell them I told you.
Of course,
You're on record now.
Yeah.
recorded, John. Anything?
Yeah, I have a couple things. First of all, the request that we received from LFN about the zoning for the solar. I've spoken with Councillor Brown, and she said that if we send her that email directly to herself, she will make sure it gets put on their next agenda.
Which one, is that the Solvest request?
The rezoning, so they can, yeah,
That's been dropped.
okay,
They dropped it. Their plan is now to, the last I heard, their plan is to set up on the Casca Forest Resources property now, which is their property.
where is that?
The one this side of the garbage dump.
The old Highland Mill.
Okay, oh, well, that makes way more sense.
Yes.
Why they wouldn't do that in the first place. Okay, my second one, so I see the staff out hanging the signs or the flags, which is awesome. Last year, we discussed possibly hanging a 2S LGBTQIA flag along with the country flags on the light standards. So I would like to move to hang no less than two LGBTQIA flags on the light standards along the highway with the country flags. We have gay staff, we have a gay town councillor, we have several gay community members, and those flags along the highway are meant to welcome travelers and people from around the world. And I think that those flags should specifically indicate members of the LGBTQIA community. I have 2 flags donated, so hopefully, so there'll be no budgetary implications through purchase of the flags. And I'm looking for a second.
I'll second that.
Any questions? All in favor? Carried.
Thank you. I'm hoping to have flags by next week.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent. Anything else, Aaron?
That is it.
Okay, thank you. I just have one thing we discussed, as Jordan mentioned, we had a meeting with him yesterday and it's coming on summertime. I know everybody's got a busy schedule, lots going on. So if there was any interest in a council hiatus. So, you know, we could do there's a couple ideas. We could take an entire month off. June 1st would be a meeting in the first of the month, and then we could take the rest of June, carry on to the middle of July. Or we could do one meeting June, one meeting July, one meeting August. Is anybody interested in that?
1-1-1.
Yeah,
One,
I agree.
1-1-1.
I'm different. I think we
Okay.
could go either way. We have lots of stuff to do, so.
Yeah, well, Cam's got lots to do too, right? So,
Yeah.
and so if we can let him play his game and work and without adding to what he has to do every day, then I think that's beneficial for everybody. We get a little reprieve and so if we're all in favor, everybody in favor of the 1-1-1, because then we can do June 1st, right? Middle of July. So the second meeting in July and the second meeting in August.
Sounds good.
If anything comes up, of course, we'll have to have a special meeting. If there's something that needs to be paid for, something we're needing to move on, well, we can be available. It's not like we're allowed to go anywhere, really.
I'm sorry, June 1st.
June 1st.
July 20th and August 17th, if I read this correctly, August 17th, your worship.
Okay.
And we may have a walkthrough of the new building around the end of July possibly, or.
Yeah, there's probably going to be we'll probably get together more than that. I mean, it's just the regular scheduled council meetings. That's what we'll aim for. But I'm sure there's going to be other things that have to be dealt with. So.
Do we have a town open house before we move all our stuff over there?
We were talking about that, weren't we?
Yes, actually, yeah, we sort of been just, the night of the tour, we talked about that, was that we're supposed to get possession of the building end of July.
Yeah.
It would be nice to do a community open house for the new building. My recommendation, well, I guess my demand of council is that we do it before we move in.
Yeah, of course.
Because I just, for safety and sticky fingers and not whatever, I just would rather it be an empty building before and we do then we can have an open house with a barbecue. And it'd be nice if council would barbecue and meet people or act as tour guides, but I think it would be a nice time to do it before we actually move in and start operations, because once we start operations, it just becomes a logistics and a safety.
I think that's a completely fair request. And honestly, I think most of the community is going to want to see the bare bones anyways.
Yeah.
They're not going to want to wander through trucks and equipment and tools and et cetera. So that's a fair request. What's this note taking? Anyways, also, I just want to reiterate the dedication of the building. So please, I don't know if maybe we should go through we should put something out to the public requesting suggestions. And maybe have a community vote.
Yeah.
You know, we can put it out pretty easily as a survey and get people, whoever wants to contribute or take, part in dedicating, then we can figure out which way that's going to go.
Definitely. I'd for sure like to, if we're gonna do a survey, it would be really great if we had some paper copies of the survey too, to bring to some of the older crowd who probably have a really great idea as to who.
It's as simple as a vote too, right? So if we have people submit names, we come up with a list and then people can vote on it. They'd have to come to the town or vote online or something like that.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
You have a combined.
Yeah.
Gather names, do the votes.
Yep.
And then place your vote online, or if you don't know how to get on the line.
Yeah.
You can come into the town office and.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Good idea.
so we can build that within the Facebook page, maybe Cam?
You will,
Okay,
you can do a survey monkey even.
well, that's
Yeah.
okay, and get some
Good idea.
results. Cool. Okay, so are we gonna adjourn and go to council or in camera, or we should, cause,
Yeah.
You have to make a motion to go in camera, your worship,
Yeah.
and then there'll be have to be a motion come out, and then if there's anything that comes out of it, then
Yeah.
then.
yeah, I just thought
Yeah.
maybe we could just skip that part.
Yeah.
We can't.
I'll make a
I
motion.
would,
Take a mo-
I'll make a motion
I'll
to go
second
on
it.
camera.
any questions, all in favor? Carried. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for attending.
Welcome to wait for us.
You're welcome to wait for any outcome of the in-camera section.
You have Patty McLeod is in attendance as well.
I'll tell you later.
Something you didn't like?
You don't have to, Terry.
Somebody's got, we'll keep minutes for the last two.
Thanks, Terry.
I got an idea for the building dedication, guys. I think we should do a dunk tank for Counselor Slager. Raise some funds for a good noble cause.
I definitely agree, and I feel like everybody has done it but Thomas.
Oh, really?
And we have a dunk tank too, so that's perfect.
Take the door shut, please? Thank you. I thought. I gotta pause.
Hey, Jordan.
Hey, guys.
Just hang on, guys.
One stop.
All right, your worship, we're back live.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
Agreed.
What did John say last time? Yeah, I'm ready to go.
Okay, let's do my